call button, various bits. And each one of those panels goes one bed. So we can determine, because there's 9 of these on each side, that there was 18 beds, plus 2 beds in the sideboard, so you'd have 20 beds per ward here. Right then, and down the middle, so you've got the bed either side, down the middle you had a dining table. You were encouraged to sit and eat at the table if you could, but it was okay to eat in the bed if you weren't feeling very well. And at the end of the ward you always have a day room. So it was in the day, I guess, where you could have a smoke, and probably had a smoking room there and things like that. So day room, beds. This is known as a nightingale ward. It's that open dorm, hence why they called them the Nightingale hospitals, because they were all open like this, weren't they? Yeah. Lots of different things. So this is a Nightingale ward. That's the style of wards here used at this hospital. This was the days of the matron. The matron was boss. Yeah. And you did what the matron said. And if you were a patient and the matron was coming, she checked the wards every day. You weren't allowed to be sat in your bed. You had to sit in the chair next to your bed. And you had to make sure that you were all tidy and clean and sat to attention when the matron came in. Okay. So one of the things that she was checking was to make sure that it had been cleaned in here. So every single morning, the nurses, well, I don't know if it was the nurses or whether a cleaner would come in and do it. Every single morning, except Sundays, they would move the beds from this side to the middle and clean, and move the beds back, and then from that side to the middle and clean, and then clean the middle, and they always did it in that order. There was order in this hospital. You did what you were told, whether you were patient, nurse, or whatever. Yeah. In the late 60s, they added the suspended ceiling panels here, which are the anti-static type. Obviously, if you look on Ward 4, you can just see in the corridor part, some of these still hanging. You see how they go, and they were surrounded by the metal, that same kind of metal that they had in the Winged Serpent Club, and that was what people were after. Hence why these are all on the floor now. But originally, when the hospital first opened, it would have been open like this. Yeah. But over time, they modified. Yeah. So that's what they all would look like when they put them in, except that they're all full. You know, but it gives you an idea of how it sat, and the light would shine through that, and they're anti-static. It's kind of different, isn't it?
When you think about it, the ceiling was pretty low.
Yeah, I know. Especially for the Americans walking through here, because they're all tall, aren't they? They eat too much meat that's got hormones in it. So Ward 5, I think that was ear, nose and throat. Ward 6 was female medical. See, I don't like this with this thick Hitler on the wall. Yeah, that's not very good, is it? I'm an RAF fan. Ward 7 was the officers' ward. They had their own ward. And this is Ward 8, which was maternity. So after the babies were delivered, they came here. Can you see how the wall narrows a bit, sticks out? That's the nursery on both sides. Ah. And so the actual dormitory part of it is a bit shorter than your standard. I think this was an add-on, because it's changed. I think the corridor's changed. I think the 4 wards were those 3, 4, 5 and 6 that they added initially, and then I think in 57 they added a bit more when they added the maternity. It's in that book. Well, feed the birds, it's helpful. Yeah. It's organic, so. So this was Ward 10, which was the children's ward. Now the difference with the children's ward was they had a couple of toilets that were a bit smaller.
I can't even see down there.
Shorter. Now, the very far end that you can see, that's Ward 14 at the other end of the corridor that runs parallel to that. So with Ward 10, they split the ward, the open dormitory part of the ward in half, and they had a partition wall, and Ward 12 was the other side. And I'd imagine they did that because it's probably a bit big and daunting for children, isn't it? You were here from 0 to 11, and 12 upwards you went into the adult wards. That was gynecology.
With the gynecology.
Yeah.
With a lot look through the window than have I.
So that was all the female problems. And then this here.
Someone's got
What's
a
the
pizza
screaming
face
for?
on my car.
Maternity delivery, November 1968. So from 1957 to 1968, November 1968, all the babies born here were born in this ward. Now the difference here, can you see this is shorter?
Yeah.
A few more toilets. And there's no day room, because at the other end there is the delivery rooms. There's a couple of delivery rooms. But if there's several women there and they're all giving birth, ready to give birth at the same time, and the delivery room was occupied, guess where you gave birth to your baby?
In the middle of everyone else, I'm guessing.
They would get a curtain, there was curtain on wheels that were wheeled around the bed, and there you go. Scream to your heart content until the baby comes out. So yeah, so that's maternity. So that's the slight differences.
So
this is, in fact, I had a lady with me today. She gave birth to her child, and it was whipped away from her. It was at the other end.
Yeah.
She was only 19, but there was problems, and they whipped her, and she didn't even get to hold the baby. I mean, it's alive now. She's 43 now. And she said that here she was, 19, first baby, scared crazy, needed forceps delivery. And they told her to stop screaming. They told her to shut up. She was making too much noise.
Oh, told me that as well.
I wasn't a screamer. I was a moaner. I was a groaner.
Yeah, I'm a screamer. You just bite your teeth and that's it.
Yeah.
2 puffs and she's done.
Are you the one with 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. All right, then.
Yeah, for all my pregnancies, my labours have been this first. It's like, yeah, let's have another one. That's not walking out.
My first one, he got his head stuck, so I needed help. He had one tooth delivery, but after that was fine. I had 2 at home and I planned home births and all of it. But I wasn't one of these ones where they came out in an hour or 5 minutes. You know, as soon as the
15.
contractions start. 15 minutes?
Yeah.
From contraction starting to giving birth?
Well, no, I'd had contractions on and off majority of the night. Then it stopped. There was nothing for a good 40 minutes. I got up, went for a wee, all normal, and then I couldn't go to the toilet. 15 minutes later.
I've never been like that.
No, I'm like 6 hours.
Yeah, I'm the typical textbook, about 7 hours from beginning to end. You know.
My longest was half an hour.
That's why she had 6.
Yeah.
They're giving birth like ordering a takeaway.
Right then, so those 2 dark rooms there are X-ray rooms. There are a couple of changing rooms next to them and an extra toilet, because that's where you had the enema and all that dye, and that's when the X-ray and all the, the inner bits. So therefore you had that little extra toilet for that purpose. Now where you're walking, that is a dark room at the back where they process the X-ray films, develop them. And
You see all the tables on the back and the chemicals.
So all this is to do with storage and holding the chemicals and processing. Tiles on the walls, obviously, to make it it's easy to do, isn't it? So all this area was to do with that. 2 X-ray rooms there.
I wouldn't want to have been the electrician with the electric boxes around here.
Big electric box. That was the office with the reception. This was a waiting area. And there's a couple of changing rooms this way. That used to be the old way in. They blocked it up for whatever reason. So you've got these 2 changing rooms, which these rooms baffle me because there's nothing at the other end. That's because there was a curtain hanging at the other
Yeah.
end. So you would come in, lock the door, and that way everything's secure, change, and wait for them to call you through. And once they call you through, you'll go to this room.
What's the...
This is where the X-ray machines were for things like the chest X-ray. And look at this. I love this. I discovered this last week.
Last words.
Blackout blinds.
Still works.
Yes, it works. Blackout blinds. I dare pull them all the way down just in case they don't
Oh,
go back
now
up
it's turned
again.
off.
Yeah. So they have blackout blinds here for this room because I thought, why is this so bright and open? Like, you know, there you go. And that room there was the radiologist room, his office. I had a lady who worked here, so she talked me through it.
You get on the whole lots of blood, especially when visit.
It's great. One of these days I'll know every single room what went down.
Know every single employee as well.
Yeah.
Little mouth.
Yeah, that's been following me for the last
They actually
10 years.
said.
I've just had to swap my light. But I'm like, it's doing dark. Why is it doing dark?
So compared to RAF Holton, RAF Holton was a bigger hospital, but it's not. It wasn't because it was bigger. It wasn't as friendly. Everybody knew each other here. Yeah.
Well, you wanted it dark, Cal.
I don't know.
No, I'm just saying you wanted it to go dark. It's gone dark.
So that was one of the buildings that was cleared of it, but then a couple of years later the roof broke. So. There's Jenny. I like to show people these three tanks. They go back a long way. Just can you see as I shine my torch? See
Yeah.
how far? So they're very long, and there's three of them. And I think that just goes to show how big a place this is to heat.
Yeah.
This would have fueled the boilers to fuel the to heat the place.
Yeah.
So this one here is one of the boiler rooms. We've got the big exhaust pipe things that come out of the walls. There's, just see one there, but we've got 3 or 4 of them coming out of the walls here. And this one had a water tank in it, so they would regulate the pressure, so obviously heating it up, and if it got too much, then they could release it, and they've got the tower next to it.
Yeah.
For that purpose, to let enough steam, so to speak. I can see that. Oh, there we go. Thank you. A little brighter. Got it?
Yeah. Thank you.
And this field here, this is a search on it. It does stand to go a long way, doesn't it? This field here was the cricket field. So they had the cricket field here. Tennis courts on, you know those gates that went for angling water? They had the tennis courts on the left, which were behind the married quarters. They also had the rugby field behind the married quarters. This was the sports pavilion, which is collapsed. Can you see it there?
Yeah.
And then you had the other boiler. You know, we saw that chimney. That was another boiler house. So, collapsed. Brickwork there, but all wooden at the front. And this lady that was here today, she said, I had my wedding reception. For life of me, she couldn't remember it. When she saw this, she goes, it was here. This is where the wedding reception was, in the pavilion, because her husband was played rugby here, and the rugby team used this as their kind of clubhouse, and they had a bar there and everything. So this is where she had the wedding reception. All right, is it gone already?
Yours gone dead. Oh, just that.
You've got a toy in your bag.
Don't mention him. Ow.
So the wildlife we have on here is muntjac deer, grass snakes, snake lizards, 5 different species of bat sheep, lots and lots of wildlife.
I've never actually seen a snake. I didn't even think snakes was in England.
We saw one on one of the day tours when the sun was out. Obviously, you won't see them.
Well, they say you get a lot of grass snakes.
But you get a lot. You can see them a lot in the summer on the. You can see them in the grass sometimes along here. Sometimes you can see the muntjac deer as well. Shine a torch, all of a sudden you'll see 2 bright eyes shining. No, I can't see any light. Sometimes they come in the buildings as well. And the other night.
Is it? I'll trust you two that it's cloud.
If you're warm, give me your hoodie.
Have me hoodie if you want it.
I'm walking out of the freezer.
It'll bury you, but you can have me hoodie if you want it.
What relationships are you on? Brothers and sisters or what?
She's my sister. The baby daddy.
So you 2 are sisters.
Yeah. That one's her baby daddy, on off partner, and the other one's my husband.
On our pad.
Okay, so you 2 are married.
Yeah.
And
She's
you
my
2.
sister, and they're on and off, and
I just have to live with him, unfortunately.
it's just a baby daddy apparently.
A baby daddy? What
Yeah.
does that take to mean?
It just fathers the children. But they're not actually together in a relationship. Apparently. I don't know.
But he's got. I thought you said you have 4.
Now she's trying to get her head around your family.
She had 2 children before she met him. So
Okay.
she's got 6, he's got 4.
Okay, so the latest 4 are his.
Yes.
But you're not in a relationship.
No.
He doesn't live together. You don't
Yeah,
live
they
together.
live together.
Yeah, unfortunately. I keep trying to get rid of him, but he won't stay away.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
How's the guy feel?
So why don't you live together properly?
Kirsty?
He's really
Yeah, I'll just edit that part out, shall
They
I?
are doing that.
Yeah.
Funny, aren't they? Right then, we're heading down this little corridor. The floor's intact here, look.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So we're actually passing the children's ward on that side and the maternity ward on that side. And these 2 rooms that we're going to pass on our left, they are the matron's and the deputy matron's office and break room. So the nurses would avoid this.
Avoid at all costs.
Yes.
I see what you mean about the American stripes.
Yeah. You see the stenciling? It's their style. So that way is Clap's asbestos roof, so we don't go down there at all. And down here, to the left is ward 12. At the very bottom to the left is physiotherapy. It's just a big open rectangle room. And there's a room opposite that I haven't yet found out what it was used for. And then opposite ward 12 here is ward 14.
So basically you're hoping for more people that know the place.
Sorry?
You're hoping for more people that know the place for that section.
I am still learning. So, the Grey Lady.
Is that down there?
Yes, the Grey Lady was seen by many nurses that worked here, and I've had 2 nurses on my tours that didn't see her but knew of nurses that did.
Yeah.
Okay, but nonetheless they hated going down this section of the corridor that we just walked through at night. It scared them somewhat crazy because of the Grey Lady. So the Grey Lady was seen walking from the physio down there, all the way down here, down the corridor down to that little junction where the
What the way, Carl?
the junction where it branches off left and right to go to the wards, and then she would go left up toward the wards, and that's when she would disappear. So it's this little section that she was always seen.
Ah.
Okay. So what are you doing?
Chicken.
So do you actually need to go down there to check
Do you
as
want to go
well?
down there and do a
Did you want to
spirit
go
box?
down?
I'll go down
Yeah,
and do a
you can
spirit
go
box.
down there.
How far down is it? Right at the bottom.
Just to the left, the bottom left.
It looks like we're all going down.
Don't leave me on my own in the corridor.
Matt, you stay here. I'll give you the spirit box to go on your own.
No, there's no need for that.
Why don't we all just go there?
To be fair, it tends to be more active anyway.
So I think that's supposed to be the psychiatric ward, that one was.
You see,
Ward 14. Well, some say Ward 12, but I can't see Ward 12 being the psychiatric ward, because that's the ward that's right next door to the children's ward. And
yeah, I
surely
can't
they
see him
would
put it that way.
have- would have put that next to the children's ward.
When he's driving.
Ah, I'm going to get a picture of that though.
Yeah, so that was physio, the physio department.
I quite like good graffiti.
There, down the corridor. And
Yeah.
down
Yeah, there's some good ones, but
But I don't know what this room was used for either. So a nurse told me this was physio, but she says she doesn't know what that room was, so, but I know this is physiotherapy. I know it's still got a sink in it. They like to smash it though, just to see what's there, don't they?
just in case there's any more copper.
Why didn't they just go through the hole or
Yeah.
something? Look at
Hoodie.
this though, look how beautiful that looks.
Yeah.
How it spreads up and it's on this side as well.
So I've got to wait until that's up. There's a great lady in here. If you want to say anything, now's your time.
Get out.
Is there anyone there? I wish to communicate. If it's a grey lady, can you tell us what your name is?
You look a bit scared, are you alright?
Keep getting told to leave.
We'll come stand behind you, look at the bed.
It's meant to set radio frequencies. It needs little bits that you don't get the actual radio frequencies.
Can you tell me what your name is?
Spirit speaking. So you might be able to catch what we're trying to say.
Sounds that you can hear there is
Why don't you see whether they can identify what that room is?
Can you identify what the room is across the way?
Like an actual way, some of it is just random.
Is it physio?
That is a K2 meter, so basically.
Can you tell me what?
It detects
Can you tell me what the hospital was called?
spirit sensing or electromagnet. So when it gets close to the green lights, then you go, and know how close it goes.
What?
It's a single green light.
Sergeant Brooks done through, to all my knowledge, what it said of them.
You said Brooksy.
Yeah. Lee.
Listen then. How many people lost lives here?
Imagine that I was suddenly dead at that question.
That's not going off again now. If you're in with me, can you touch this device in my hand with the lights on?
That lit up.
Can you make it go to the yellow one? Can you make it go to the orange? Oh, that's strange, that.
Some of it wasn't, some of it was a little more
Can you tell me what year it is?
and you can get, I mean, there's been a few times where you've got like lots of different voices, you've got male and female, and you've got children's voices sometimes.
That was clear.
That was very clear. Why do you want us to leave? Why do you want us to leave? Can the grey lady show themselves? Can she show herself walking down the corridor? Can you tell us the name of the lady that's taking us on this tour?
They're all over there, aren't they?
Yeah, why?
There's a knock there.
Can you do something for us? No? Make a sound? Did you do it? Hello, then? Huh? That's a big no. Right, do you want us to leave? Yes or no, very clear. Do you want us to leave? Sounds like gibberish. Right, thank you very much. Try the other one.
You want there?
You what, sorry?
I'll try the other one.
Oh, why? That one does my head in. They've got all you hear is There's much more to do.
She was just saying it's possibly maybe 5:30 by the time we finish.
We won't be finished till about 9:30. So what we're going to do, once we go down the corridor, we'll go and have a look at the mill. And then we'll be heading over to the new utility. But it's not only where the roofs have been taken, so we know that one. Yeah. We can just see it from the corridor.
So what do you got walking?
Very active. Do you want me to do this walking?
Yeah, just with.
Right. There's no power in this building, is there?
No power on the whole site. I'm sure that just said wait.
Where's all that coming from?
Don't know, it's coming through quite lightly. It's actually really warm in here.
British remember this being wider, so we believe the Americans put the partition wall in. nasty smell, isn't it? I think it was because, although my husband could be bred in the wood with the wood stove, archives that says, so we think that they created a storage area. That's the end of Ward 14. And then what the Americans did is they painted the beams, and between each beam there's a door. So that door leads to the dental centre, which is a separate building. It's not attached like the wards are. They called it dental, but we called it dental centre. You can just see the British, how they wrote.
Yeah.
They said dental centre. The Americans are lazy, you know. Dental and lab. They call it pharmacy, and we called it dispensary. So we lose the yellow band because we've just passed it. So that's the dental centre.
Yeah.
Through here. And if you notice, this is all wooden windows here.
Yeah.
This used to be an open walkway. So they breeze blocks between the concrete posts and put the plasterboard up and closed it in, so it makes it warmer. And then it still keeps going, doesn't it? Still keeps going.
So you want to go to the morgue? The mortuary. Is that where you want to go first? Yeah. Come on then.
The morgue.
The mark.
Yep. Tell you what, you wouldn't see this footpath in a hurry, would you?
They even dug up the roses people that came to strip, look. So we're going to go through the generator room because it's all dug up there, so we have to go through the generator room. But look at this, see the ivy, see the shape of the leaves as it goes through the heart, what happens to the shape. See how it becomes heart shaped? Yeah. Isn't that cute? I love it. Watch out the pits. And there's another half out there, and we're going to see that.
She was just saying, watch out
That
for
looks
holes.
like a toilet block. So there used to be a big generator in here. Now, when the Americans came onto the site, they didn't think it was big enough. You know what Americans are like? So they shipped a huge generator over from America because they wanted a bigger one. And this is the mortuary. Some youths had been messing around with fire in there, and it got out of control. So there is fire damage in there, but we can go in. The fire service had to come out and put the fire out. So if you follow that road around, it will take you to where the boiler houses were, where we were. Okay. But I like to come down the corridor to see them all. See the whole corridor. So this is the observation window. And we'll talk about that in a minute. This is the damage the fire did, look, to the doorway and here. So I think the fire started somewhere over there. This is the main entrance into the mortuary, but if you were coming to see a loved one that passed on, you would be asked to wait in there. Because this end was the post-mortem. Where they did the post-mortem, the room.
Do you need some more batteries in that one?
What's that?
I was saying whether Kirsty needed some more batteries in that one.
No, it's still lit in it.
Yeah, I'm just saying so you've got the full brightness.
This is what remains of the slab, unfortunately. There's bits of it everywhere, but from the bits, we can get an idea as to where it went. Because that is one of the legs. It's got an oval shaped bottom. So has this. Here's oval, see that?
Yeah.
And then behind your legs there's another bit.
There, that's where you stood.
I guess that's the drain pipe thing. So yeah, and also that's the drainage there as well. There's water pipes that would have come up. So the slab would have laid this way in the middle. There was only one table in here. It's not a very big mortuary at all.
Not for the size of the place.
No.
Out any kiddo?
But then they didn't have geriatrics here.
True.
Got more in the hospital.
What's that? This one.
Readings. Got more in the hospital, not in the morgue, but it's a morgue, isn't it? It's where they brought the bodies.
Sure, all the dead people are. So they brought the bodies here, they didn't die here.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you find that you never find any in the morgues?
This is the first morgue we've actually been in.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere else we've been, they haven't been one, honestly.
But they
Oh, we
would-
haven't found it.
They would have died elsewhere in hospital.
Yeah.
So because they didn't have a geriatric part, you know, this was a hospital that served working people, so they were younger, weren't they? The nurses, when they were, because they've got the school of nursing here, to get the training for geriatrics, they would go to St George's in Lincoln. So it's really, the hospitals lose a lot of older people, just like the coronavirus is killing a lot of older people. So you wouldn't have had that much. That's a cupboard that's on its side. But it's a shame, because apparently if you look, there are pictures on the internet of this table, what it used to look like. I haven't looked, my husband's seen them, I haven't looked. But there are some pictures out there, I need to have a look. But it would have gone in the middle thing. Which makes sense, because you can work all the way around it then, can't you?
Yeah.
Now this other room where the observation window is, that would have been toilet and sink and things like that. This room would have been a cold room. This is what's left of the refrigeration unit that they kept the bodies in. So that groove there, that's the right size for one of the tables that would be lying on to slide in there. And the height of this is different to the height of this side. And that's unusual. You would normally have same height things, wouldn't you? So that's all part of the refrigeration unit. It's unlikely to have held more than 4 because it's not a huge mortuary, but I can't say how many. But they would have been kept the bodies in there, and then if somebody came to want to see their loved one, they would prepare the body, bring it out here, put it on a table in front of the window. There's curtain rails there over the window, so the curtains would be kept closed unless they open them for somebody to look through to have a look at their loved one.
Yeah.
So they didn't actually come into the room, they just looked through the window.
Sometimes for identification as well.
Yeah,
Obviously, if there's a car accident outside.
yeah.
What animal is that?
So this is the mortuary, so it's not a very big place at all, but at least it still reveals a few things of what was once here.
It's zipped. Oh, still on it. Yeah, hang on. That was Kirsty just catching the thing.
Right then, back on the corridor. Never ending corridor.
I know. So we're actually leaving the hospital now. That's the main part of the hospital. Down this end, you've got the laboratories, the pathology labs, yeah?
Yeah.
You've got the dispensary and the medical stores. And then beyond that, you've got all the accommodation blocks for the RAF, so the females and the males, and also where the new maternity that was moved down here. And that's the only, it's really odd, because that's the only part that's kind of medical, if you know, and the school of nursing down here. So we've got 2 red beams, which means there's a door, and that's the pathology labs. So the roof has been taken, so it's now open to the elements. It's about 4 rooms, not very big. There's nothing to indicate what was there, and there's lots of grass and bushes and trees growing in there. So,
It's now a nature reserve.
yes. We called it dispensary. Can you see the D?
Yeah.
You see how it said dispensary underneath?
Yeah.
Americans called it pharmacy. There was a walkway that took you, just to show you it's all there because the walkway collapsed. Walkway took you to the dispensary, which was the back end of the medical stores. So again, we can't go that way, but we will look at the back end of the medical stores. Think of those poor nurses that have to walk down these corridors.
I've got little mini buggies or something to ride on.
So that says medical stores that way,
Yeah.
but that way has a pile of asbestos from the collapsed
Yeah.
roof. So we are not going to walk over it. We're going to walk out here, come back in and walk past it. Okay. But this is a door, not a doorway. So it's a broken door. It's a bit lower and you guys are a bit taller. So just bear in mind that there's a bit of glass here and that is a lot lower than a normal doorway. So building 82, this is the medical stores. So this is where they would store the methylated spirits and the drugs and the test tubes and all that kind of everything, you know, the medical stores. This end, that looks like a Nightingale ward, doesn't it? Yeah. But it's not. That is the School of Nursing. That is the classrooms for the nurses when they were training. And where that door is, there is a corridor running parallel this way, and on the other side of that, just like the wards, you've always got an opposite block. Okay, so this block and the block opposite that corridor, those 2 blocks were to do with the training of nurses, the School of Nursing. This block and the block opposite, the passageway, is the transit block. That's temporary accommodation if you were moving stations or things like that. But not at the beginning. At the beginning it was open dormitory. So we're going to stay left, making sure we do not tread on that asbestos, okay? Because it's nice